What's up, everybody? Huey here, and welcome back to the Gold Rush weekly watch list. So I'm going to jump through this very quickly. We're going to cover a handful of tickers. The first one is going to be SPX. SPX is now fully retraced, almost fully retraced this move from the high, pivot high here to the lowest low of the year. It's almost retraced about 90% of it. So looking for that as a final target until we can start to target some of these higher pivots here, intraday pivots. If you look over to the left on your chart. So main target is going to be that 43.25 at some point this week. This is the weekly chart. Obviously, daily chart is very strong. And as you can see, we're still, just about a $20 candlestick away or so, right? One more of these. We had a low of 42.41 and we had a high of 42.90. So a 50-day move. So one more 50-point move for the SPX. QQQ, you can see kind of the same inverse head and shoulders vibe that we've been talking about here. Yeah, I mean, it's just been blowing through the levels, right? These are some levels from last week. So let's look for 357, followed by the 360, 361.68, and then 369.31. If we do get a pullback, we'd like to keep the range of that pullback within this previous week's candlestick, right? Just within the highs and lows of this candlestick. That will ultimate show of strength, right, for QQQ. Next one is XLE. XLE had a bounce at the support, right? Same support line that's been holding up for weeks and weeks. We did dip down below and test some of these previous lows, but buyers came in and brought it back into this price action here, this range here around 79, between 78 and 80 or so, right? This range right here. So what we want to do is just take out the previous week's high before we can target the other previous week's highs. Same thing for XLF. XLF had the same kind of multi-week rising support level. So we got a nice consolidation bounce out of this support level. XLX is set up to give us a very, very nice play for this coming week. It looks like we rejected at the previous week's high, almost to the penny. The high was 32.92, and on this week we had 32.92. So exact rejection area, right? So what we want to do is build some volume right underneath this line to start to work our way through this line, right? I mean, the momentum's here. You obviously got the bounce. Some of the banks are, some of the setups are super beautiful, especially on JP Morgan, which we'll discuss later. So we got this nice little breakout here with a small gap fill between the open of this candlestick, or the close of this candlestick, and the open of this candlestick. Nice little gap there. So XLF, we can even play XLF calls for like 3 weeks out or 2 weeks out or something like that. So I'll be looking at those tomorrow. By the way, tomorrow's the first day of our small account challenge. So if you are interested, I hope that you catch the vibe, because it's going to be a grand old time. Very, very fun for the entire community. SDOT put out a small account challenge watch list. You can find it in the small account challenge channel. Let's see something. Yeah, all right, that's some old rules, so I'm gonna have to take a look at that. But anyway, so very excited for the small account challenge. It's gonna last all the entire month of June. Real quick, let's look at earnings this week. Where are we at? Let's see. I don't have an earnings calendar for this week. I don't think that maybe there isn't any earnings. I don't see anything in the calendar. All right, so back to the watch list. So we have Apple. Apple's been a monster. Let's go to the weekly. We're just a couple, $2 or so away from all-time high, which was at 182.94. So very, very close to it. You can see how much selling pressure there is here on the weekly chart. There's definitely an intraday demand, or like a 2-day demand, or supply or something happening in this area, right? There might be like a small intraday followed by the retest here, which started our downtrend with the formation of the lower high. So this is going to be a key area. We formed the doji on Friday after some very, very strong price on Thursday, some indecision towards the beginning of the week. And then we had a short week last week. I believe this was Tuesday, May 30th, and then just a 4-day trading week. So, volatility was increased. They held it down for these 2 days, and then it finally popped on the Thursday and continued on the Friday with a little bit of a fight between buyers and sellers. AMD. So I measured the move from this high to this low right here. I don't know why it's hanging off to the side. Oh, I know why. Because I measured it on the weekly. All right, so AMD, beautiful setup. I mean, there's very few setups in the market that match this one. So you see a consolidation zone here. You see that if I drag this in with your mind, you can kind of see where price stopped previously, kind of gapped into it, set up a little support system here, and then bounced from here, right? And then came back to this area. It's actually much clearer on the daily, but these are some of the areas that I want to see. I'm interested in seeing AMD kind of pull back to. With the measure move here, I got a 618 fib and a 50% move of the move here. So that would be the ideal area for AMD to pull back and form a couple of candlesticks within these two lines here, kind of in the same area, retesting some of this volume here to see if the buyers still like it here, right? Bring the battle back to where the buyers and sellers are right here and see who takes control. Obviously, if we can fortify buyers here, some will flip some sellers and work our way up. So these lines are from last week. We broke through we opened up at above my first target, and then we fell down and retraced about let's say, looks like about 65 or so % of the previous week's candlestick. So a nice healthy retracement. I mean, I could have measured the move from here to there to see what it is. Actually, let's just do it real quick. It looks like let's see what it is. Yeah, 50% of the move. Okay, so from bottom to top, from bottom here to top of here, bottom of the white candle to the top of the black candle, and then pull back. We got a 50% move. So I like that. If anyone knows my personal trading style, we know that I'm very interested in the momentum that's built behind 3-bar plays. And so if that's like a kind of a weekly 3-bar, 4-bar that's forming, then that's going to be a nice, interesting move for AMD in the long term. So I'll continue to watch that, but I want to see some of these levels here hold. Especially, you see there's kind of a key area here with the top of this wick here, a little bit of indecision on this week before continuation of the move. So I want to maybe revisit some of this indecision here, kind of see where things are going. The last time we were here, sellers had control. So if we can bring price back into this area and fight it out a little bit before we maybe work our way down here or continue to rip. So we'll see. Those are the two key areas. If you're interested in trading AMD, I would just mimic this, right? You have your this area between 119 and 123.60, and then you have the lower area between 112.33 and 101. Key areas for AMD long term. Amazon, I mean, so this is the previous consolidation zone. I measured this move here between this low and this high, and I got these fibs. So if we do get a pullback, I would love for it to pull back. 786 would be a nice ideal spot for this to kind of settle in at as low as 118.29. I wouldn't really want to go lower than that. I mean, we can, right, technically, but I think that if there's momentum behind this move, especially with the bounce, right, the impulse move up and then the pullback to form a higher low to start the move, right, I would love for this to kind of go vertical and try to go, have buyers take it to 135 before we start to get a pullback. These dashed lines are the targets that I had for last week. We ripped right through them last week, and so now we have these targets that are in place. So I'm looking for a nice continuation of the move and then maybe a pullback in the future. I want to see it touch 135 at some point. Coinbase, I just wanted to highlight how tight it's getting, and then you see we have this kind of it's like an asymmetrical wedge with sort of an inverse head and shoulders here, where your left shoulder, your head, your right shoulder here forming, with a lot of price going sideways at this area. Key areas, you can see, I mean, look at where all the volume is, right? All these candlesticks. If you're looking for volume, guys, and you don't know what I'm talking about, just look at where all the candlesticks are. Look at where like the majority of it is, right? And sometimes I just don't know the level of people, so I just want to make sure that everybody is, and I know some of you guys, understand this from the back of your hand, but I just want to make sure that anybody, if you have any questions about any of my language or anything like that, just don't feel shy. You can hit me up. I'm here for everybody to learn. When I first started, I needed somebody to lean on, and I got a couple of people who really helped me out, and so I want to be that same resource for you, right? So feel free to message me or ping me or whatever, contact me however you may. But anyway, I want to see it clear this area here where all this volume is, and then come back, retest it before it starts to make this. There's a big move coming in Coinbase, right? Because ultimately we got to retest this level here at 160. So there's a few key levels, but Coinbase, I would just keep it on your chart if you're interested in trading this type of setup. We'll see next couple of weeks. Microsoft has, these are my levels. These are my lines from last week. I was hoping for it to either hold this area or break down to the play some puts, but it didn't even touch my entry level for the downside. It went straight to the target level, but didn't quite break it. It kind of formed a doji in the week. So Microsoft is a really, really good setup because it kind of tested both levels, and buyers and sellers kind of worked their way out within these past 4 days. They brought it down and they bounced it on Thursday, and I believe that Thursday was a reaction to the debt ceiling news or the announcement of an almost resolution. There was something there to bring about this bounce in the market, but we're at the top of the range right before my first target. You could take that as your entry to the next target, which is at 343.11. I'm not looking for too much, honestly, with this move, but look how close Microsoft is to its all-time high, right? All-time high 349.67. Microsoft is at 335, so $14 away. And it can do it in one candlestick if it really wanted to, right? Especially with all this momentum that it's had. Let me just get some fib levels so we can find some. I mean, this is just, let's do it from the impulse move here. See here. I'll just do this. I'll do this one. So you want to see it kind of catch support in these levels, hold in these levels if you're bullish. The 786 to 330.75 ish, I would just call that the ultimate level for support. We'll see what happens. I mean, there's a lot of activity, as you can see on these candlesticks in this area, and there was obviously a fight between buyers and sellers with this one doji that was formed. So they closed it higher than they closed it last week and the previous week and the previous week and like 6 weeks back to back. So the trend is continuing. Definitely a battleground for Microsoft, bulls and bears. Meta, I love the setup. I think this is another just like AMD, it's like one of those setups that's just very hard to match for these next couple of weeks. So and Meta, if you go back to the charts, bottomed out, I think, before the rest of the market did, or at least maybe not the market, but I would say like Amazon, Apple, Google, Netflix. I think that Meta was one of the first ones to kind of find its bottom and bounce. And so I like the moves. I mean, the candlesticks in the weekly are very, very clean. Like there's very little retracement on some of these moves. We did get a little bit of some consolidation here before I continue the move. We got a little imbalance area here, came back, little imbalance area here, nice impulsive move to the upside. So for a continuation of the move, I'm looking for 292.67, which would give us the gap fill. It would bring us back to this area of balance where it formed this doji on this 1 week. So that's going to be a level of interest, to kind of see. Maybe it's going to do like the same thing like Microsoft. They were just formed a doji on a weekly, right? Or maybe it'll just blow right through it, or maybe sellers will take it and bring it back down to 200, right? Who knows? But the final target for this through this shaded box, which is the area where I believe there's balance, final target is 322.50, which will put us, if you follow the cursor right at another previous level, right? A key level where you see it's acted as support and resistance a few weeks in the past. So loving Microsoft to the upside. And I want to see a continuation, and I want to see support at the level here at, where am I? 264.57 for support. So 264.50-ish before a continued move. Starbucks landed in an area of support on the weekly. It got killed, and I mean, I think this is a gift for anyone who's interested in long-term investing. And if you like this company, you like their model. I love their model, so I always keep them on. I actually I do have shares. I have shares in my daughter's account. Okay, so we're good. We're good on Starbucks. But this is a good spot if you're interested in it and you want to buy it. Starbucks is sitting in an area of demand. You can see that it consolidated here before it continued, came back, retested, bounced, slowly made its way back down, and then a couple of weeks of support before it bounced again, and now it's here again. So I have now these levels I've had drawn out from last week. We took the first downside level to the downside, and I think I called out some puts on it. And it did give you the downside move, but really it gave you a bounce, right? It didn't hit our downside targets of 96.17, 95.21, and 93.33. If we do pull back down, or this is like a part of a 3-bar play to the downside, then I would expect to retest those levels. So I'm just going to go ahead and leave them on the charts. But now the upside levels from last week are in play. So my first level is 99.61. Let me see, the high of this candlestick was 99.66. So it did break above the target, and then it pulled back a little bit. So we want to see it break above this target again. Let's go into the daily. We want to see it break into the high of this candlestick here, into the range of this candle, right? We want to see it trade in here. We want to see it start trending upwards if this is a true demand zone, right? And look at all the consolidation that occurred here on the daily chart, right? So this is a key area. So I'm looking for just the upside move. I'm loving Starbucks right now. Tesla. You can't talk about the market without talking about Tesla. So Tesla gave you the bounce with a shallow pullback, high or low on the weekly, and now it's working its way up. It's broken this pivot. It retested this level I have here at 214.66, and a little bit of sell pressure sticked in there to not give it like a full-bodied candlestick. So we're looking for pullback and maybe range in this level for a continuation. Maybe it comes back to retest some of these days where it found resistance at this level, where it found support in the past, right? So in this box here, but otherwise we want to see a break above the range of this candlestick here, which I'm going to go ahead and rearrange this, right? Break out the high of this candlestick here to work our way to test the high of this candlestick here. That's what we're looking for with Tesla. Looking at the daily, I mean, this thing has just been an absolute monster. And so I would love to see it range here just to kind of retest some of the balance that's going on this level. So that buyers and sellers can agree that we should bring the price up or down again, right? This is going to be another key level. The upside target is 237.40. There is some news with their tax. I think all of their vehicles are available for the $7,500 tax credit, depending on your state. So I think that they're able to sell more cars, get more cars produced and sold, which makes sense if Elon's doing volume at this point. If Tesla's doing volume at this point, then you can bring your margins down a little bit because you're making it up with all the volume. So let's see. We've been saying we're going to follow him since we drew some of these lines here, and we're following him. We're following what he's doing with the company. I think Twitter, the Twitter thing, and I've been saying this for the past like 4 weeks now. His new CEO is going to start at some point, so that's what's going on with the goings on with Tesla. So. Let's look for a continuation into 237, above 237, 250, above 250. Let's fill this gap right here. A little volume gap right there around 261. And if we pull back, then we can pull back easily to the 200 level. 200, turn any number into a meme number, right? So it'll be 269, knock on it, and then bounce up or down, likely up if it does knock on it for Tesla. I think that's it, guys. I don't think I have anything else. Let me see. Oh yeah, I have a few more. Cat just made a monster move. I mean, it just kind of small fall down. Big strong candlestick to the downside here. Little indecision, little bounce, and then some battle, and then it slowly worked its way down into a nice little pivot machine gun here. It's not the cleanest, but I like it. Right. We took all these highs, all these lows out, and now we got to test, all these highs, and now we got to test these highs for Cat. So get rid of some of these. I'm just going to draw them right here. I want to take that one out. I want to take that open out, and I want to take that wick out, and then I want to take that open out. Those are your levels for Cat, and if it does pull back, I wouldn't even, with Caterpillar, Caterpillar is one of those companies that gives you good volatility. So, so you can play it pretty much every day. If it has a move in it, you can get a nice, you can count on it to move, at least $5 in a day. So I measured the high and the low of the week, and it gave me these fibs. And so I would like to see it, if it does pull back, I want to see it form some sort of support within those levels. JP Morgan, I think I was looking at it on the 1 hour, or was it the daily? Was I just on the daily? Oh yeah, it was the daily. So we have an inverse head and shoulders that is forming on JP Morgan. You know, with this, you have to look at it for what it is. I mean, price, you know, it's like take a fat marker and draw it across. Like you can't do it like with pen the way that you can, like for example with Apple, you can just like trace this with a pen or a pencil, right? You can just trace it because look at how tight the candles are next to each other. There's a little bit of gaps, but you can trace the overall image of this on a line chart, right? Whereas JP Morgan is, you know, is very gappy. You know, there's a lot of inconsistency. You find like little gaps here, you know, dojis everywhere. So we did come back. I measured the move from I believe this low to this high here, and I got these fibs. We didn't come down to fill this gap. This gap still exists. You know, the gap that occurred here. We came down and fill some of it, but there's a little bit more volume to fill. So there's a fair value gap here. Price hasn't come back to retest some of this level here, but it did find some buyers right at the 618 fib. It consolidated right on that fib a bunch, and then it just bounced. So let's look for it to maybe pull back into this 786 fib, right? Climb that ladder, pull back into the 786 fib, and then if there's some support, then maybe we can test this pivot here on this candlestick at the high of 142.41 to get into the target area 143.84. If we take those highs out, then we can see 150 pretty easily with JP Morgan. So I'll be interested in looking at this one for a multi-week swing. Lulu. This is my last one. So Lulu gapped on the previous earnings and worked its way up. Found some really strong resistance as it has in the past here. I think there's another strong level of resistance here. So consolidated on that, sellers took control, brought it back down into this earnings where it gapped up once more. So it obviously closed lower than it opened, but we did retest this area, and we were very interested in retesting this area. There's a bunch of sellers sitting here. So, you know, this is your target, right? That's your target. That's where we want to, you know, we want to kind of trade within that level. And I'll go ahead and draw my fib on this move. I'll just do it from the high. Right, you want to see it pull back into the 786 level and not retrace most of this candlestick. You want to see it even like pull back into the lows of this candlestick and find support where it previously consolidated. You know, so that's Lulu. It's going to be hard to say because there's a lot of gaps. I feel like, you know, there's flowing rivers on this chart right now. Of empty space. All right, guys, so that is it. Once again, I'm very excited for our small account challenge starting tomorrow. If you are interested in it, you should see the link in the description on YouTube. And if you follow us on social media, we're going on and on about this small account challenge. So I'm very excited for the mindset shift that's going to occur. And so tomorrow's day one. Very, very excited. So that's it, guys. If you ever need anything from me, hit me up. Find my socials in the link. If you are in the community, you already know how to reach me. And I will see you guys tomorrow. I'm very excited for this trading week. But yeah, see you guys tomorrow. Thanks for watching the video. Peace.